approach the sigil on the stone. Magic glitters and swirls from it erratically, as if malfunctioning. It looks slightly dangerous.
A hand? Anyone? Whatever you're doing is working wonders! Now a quick little pull should do the trick. Oh. Hello. I'm Gale of Waterdeep. Apologies. Usually better at this. A bit shocked, but friend, it's a relief and a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Say, but I know you, don't I? In a manner of speaking. You were on the Norse Lloyd as well. And I can only assume you too were on the receiving end of a rather unwelcome insertion in the ocular region. No use sugarcoating it, is there? The insertee we speak of, this parasite, are you aware that after a period of excruciating gestation, it will turn us into mind flayers? It's a process known as ceremorphosis, and let me assure you, it is to be avoided. You don't happen to be a cleric by any chance, do you? A doctor? Surgeon? Uncannily adroit with a knitting needle?
You seem to know enough about our condition to realize it's beyond most clerics' skills.
Most, no doubt, but I find myself hoping to be in the presence of the few. You don't happen to be one of them. As we've established, few enough can. It's not exactly a common affliction. We're most certainly going to need a healer, and soon, too. How about we lend each other a helping hand once more and look for a healer together? Most excellent. A parasite shared is a parasite halved, or something to that effect. Oh, but before you think you're about to embark on a journey with most ill-mannered a man, thank you for pulling me out of that stone. It was an act of foresighted kindness, I assure you. For I have the feeling ample opportunities will present themselves for me to return the favor. Go to hell. Ha! You're a good sport. Go to hell. An everyday expression. So trivial it's almost meaningless. But we've seen hell. It's real. And it isn't trivial. Devils, dragons, mind flayers. They used to be abstracts. Pictures on a piece of paper. What a difference a day makes. Now we have tadpoles slithering through our heads like carnivorous feti. That's not abstract. That's the spirit. Let's be up with the lark. Find a healer before the wee one gets... The Githyanki joining our company. Not a collaboration I'd have anticipated, but a welcome one nonetheless. Let's see. I hail from Waterdeep, City of Splendors. I am a wizard of considerable acclaim and scholar of exceptional accomplishment. I have a cat, a library, and a weakness for a good glass of wine. And if the mood takes me, I'm known to try my hand at poetry. There. Didn't that paint enough of a picture?
Try as you might to breach his inner thoughts, Gale swats your efforts away with infuriating ease.
I have a very disciplined mind. Those tricks won't work on me. Please don't try that again unless I invite you to. Tiring business, isn't it? All this traveling and adventuring. Why don't we take a little break, Allow ourselves a few moments of rest? Gives me a chance to talk to you about something, well, rather important. We've been on the road together for a while now, haven't we? Survived some perils, overcame some obstacles. Ever since you were kind enough to free me from that stone, I've seen you demonstrate remarkable guile and courage. The way you diffused the tension between Zevlor and Aradin, the way you stood in front of a crossbow to prevent a murder. In short, I've grown to trust you. The reason I make a point of saying this is that I've grown confident enough to tell you something I've yet to tell another living soul, except for my cat. You see, I have this condition. Very different from the parasite we share, but just as deadly. The specifics are rather personal, but suffice it to say that it is a malady I've learned to live with, though not without some effort. What it comes down to is this. Every so often, I need to get my hands on a powerful magical item and absorb the weave inside. I'll spare you the finer details, but begins with a simple biological deterioration, muscle spasms, disorientation, a slight ringing in the ears, and, if left for too long, catastrophe. It's been days since I last consumed an artifact, since before we were abducted. It's only a matter of time before my craving returns. That is why I turn to you. I need you to help me find magic items to consume. It is vital. Dare I say it? Critical. We've already done the finding. In fact, you have one in your possession. You know for yourself how hard-won such an item was, and it will be no easier when even more are required to assuage my hunger. There'll be danger involved, or great cost. Splendid. Bit of boldness will serve us well. I'm sure we won't have to look very far to find what I need. Faerun overflows with magic-infused treasure. As do our packs, as a matter of fact. We've such an item already in our possession, primed for the moment the need arises. I hope I can count on you. That woman has more venom in her heart than a snake in its fangs. But at least the child is safe. What is youth if not a time to be forgiven for one's transgressions? Come, let's cut the kid some slack, shall we? She didn't deserve this madcap spectacle as far as I'm concerned. That scamp reminds me of myself when I was a nipper. Always getting into trouble. And worse. One time, my parents denied me a kitten, so I summoned myself a Tressym. Ah, dear old Tara. Beautiful creature. Benefits of a wizard's education, you see. Of course, my considerable talent didn't hurt either. Well, that depends on who you ask, I suppose. I may have summoned things rather more exotic than a winged cat. There was that magma method once. Nice fellow, we kept in touch. Of course, in walked the housekeeper, screaming, yelling, panic, and before you know it, fire everywhere. Anyway, I'm glad we got that boy out of his predicament. Poor lad would have been harpy feed if it wasn't for you. I've known a few warlocks in my time. Talented, of course, though sometimes too eager to listen to the devils on their shoulders. Comes with the territory, unfortunately. Think of it as tribute. The kind a king might pay to a more powerful neighbor to avoid invasion. As long as I pay, there will be peace. But should I ever stop, along comes a war. I can assure you, the battlefield would extend well beyond the borders of my body alone. Do you feel as flattered as I do? Fighter to dine with a devil. Yes, they offer you an apple, but they're the worm that lurks within. Still, don't let his bluster fool you. All that talk of desperation, it merely illustrates his own. I think he wants something from us, badly. And in that knowledge lies our opportunity. There's no such thing as an absolute certainty. Let me play the devil's advocate. The man is too eager. Do not dismiss his offer out of hand. If there's one quality all the denizens of the hells embody, it's ambition. Quality they share with many humans, come to think of it. By figuring out his true intentions. Fact one, there's something very strange and very powerful about our tadpoles. Fact two, a devil offers to take it away. Devils aren't known to aid mortals out of simple kindness. Whatever Raphael wants, we must be the key to getting it, along with our tadpoles. So, we say for now, we wait. If I'm right, Raphael will seek us out again, and when he does, there's a mighty bargain to be made. Remember his Cormyrean rhyme? Down came the claw. Perhaps we should start growing our nails. I'll have to speak slowly. I'm finding it quite difficult to concentrate with my condition gnawing at my insides like a teething displacer kitten. That is most gratifying to hear. May I? Thank you. That hit the spot. I can feel it work. The magic, it's like a lullaby that sings to sleep the demon inside. A metaphorical demon, I haste to point out, but no less dangerous. And no less bound to wake up again to continue its ravages. Such is the nature of all monsters. Grateful as I am, the course of our camaraderie is much better served by not taking that particular detour. Not just yet. Sincerely, though. I understand I ask a lot from you with few answers in return. But in time, all will be told. My lord, I bow to your boundless kindness. Githyanki patrolling these wilds is an unexpected surprise. Whatever they seek, they'll not hesitate to kill us if we stand in their way. We all have our burdens, one way or the other.
Oh. My, you startled me. It's miles away.
No special reason, really. I was just practicing an incantation.
What can I say? She's Mystra.
I can't quite describe it. The need I sometimes feel to see her. To draw the filaments of fantasy into existence. No sculpture or painting could ever do her justice. Only the fabric that she herself is and embodies.
The weave. Mystra is all magic. As far as I'm concerned, she is all creation. Magic is my life. I've been in touch with the weave for as long as I can remember. There's nothing like it. It's like music, poetry, physical beauty, all rolled into one and given expression through the senses. Is it the same for you?
Fair enough. Though in the end, we're still playing the same composition.
Perhaps I can show you what I mean by reaching into the weave together. Then follow my lead. Now you.
A familiar feeling, like a kind word and a kind touch at the same time. It's warm and comfortable.
Excellent. Now, repeat after me. Athran Mystra Ril Kantrak Eo.
Ah, yes. The scent of rosewater and a sense of well-being. A sliver of weave that tastes sweet on the tongue.
Very good. Now, I want you to picture in your mind the concept of harmony, as true as you can.
You see, or is it sense, the unmistakable presence of Mystra, the Lady of Mysteries. There's something like the anticipation of a kiss, then the pleasure of being cloaked in peace. You are safe. You are nestled in the cup of Mystra's hand.
You did it! You're channeling the weave. How does it feel? That it does.
The weave connects you. The moment feels intimate. You realize the weave is making you one. You have but to imagine your desire, and Gale will know it.
I didn't think.
You perceive quick-fire gusts of embarrassment, trepidation, and finally, elation.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting. But it is a pleasant image, to be sure. Most pleasant, in fact. Most welcome.
The weave evaporates, and as it does so, you realize the night feels suddenly cold and lonesome.
Oh. There it goes. How easily things slip away from us, no matter how hard they were in the obtaining. Good night. I enjoyed sharing a moment of magic with you.
Tell me, what can I do for you? I assure you it's not. Don't get me wrong, you did well. The somatic component, the verbal component, even the focus on the inner self that invites Mystra in. But I was still your conduit. To perform such a feat alone requires much and arduous study. Yet it is life's most worthy pursuit in my impartial, if not humble opinion. Oh, I was surprised, but pleasantly so. Just like I said, amid the madness that has befallen us, it seems almost out of place to think of a kiss. And yet, now more than ever, it's important to recall what makes us human. A stolen glance, that sudden heartbeat. Sometimes the little things are worth more than kingdoms. They promise things to come. My condition is worsening again. I need to consume some powerful magic or it may become volatile. Thank you.
It is a strange experience. Each time anew. Like a lost soul is spelunking through the darkness that is me, only to be sacrificed on the dread altar of the heart. But this doesn't feel quite right. It never feels right, but it relieves. This doesn't relieve. Oh. You do plenty for me, more than you realize. But this cannot be remedied. The magic isn't having the effect it should have. It's not like the last time, like a rainstorm that quells a forest fire. It merely drizzles. The embers still sizzle, the fire remains undefeated. I'm not certain what's going on, but nothing good. Please, I need to think. I need to retrace my steps to a glade of calm and think. Thank you for the artifact. A great deal of trouble it was too. A great deal of trouble indeed. I've been dreaming of our enigmatic visitor again. She told me our purpose was to take on this cult of the Absolute, to infiltrate its ranks and bring it down from the inside. She even offered me greater powers, the result of some manipulation of the tadpole's psionic abilities. Given the magnitude of what we're up against, I see no harm in considering the benefit this offer might afford us. Could be the only way to reach this source in one piece. I admire the vigor with which you uphold your principles. But I would remind you that the evils of the Absolute are far greater than any moral compromise we might make by using our tadpole's full potential. Your confidence in our existing capabilities is quite rousing, though. Perhaps that spirited enthusiasm will be strength enough to subdue the cult when the time comes. You'll have to speak slowly. I'm finding it quite difficult to concentrate with my condition gnawing at my insides like a teething displacer kitten. That is most gratifying to hear. May I? Thank you. Good gods. It hardly has any effect. Oh, Mystra, have mercy on us all. Listen, I need to speak to you, to all of you. It would be unconscionable of me to remain silent. I might just be about to remedy that. You have to know who I was. You have to know who I really am. What I am is a walking shadow of the promise I once held. I'm what one might call a wizard prodigy, who from an early age could not only control the weave, but compose it, much like a musician or a poet. Such was my skill that it earned me the attention of the mother of magic herself, the Lady of Mysteries, the goddess Mystra. She revealed herself to me and she became my teacher. In time, she became my muse, and later even my lover. Oh yes, we enjoyed each other's company. Body, mind, and soul. But even so, I desired more. You see, no matter how powerful a wizard we mortals can become, we never scratch more than the surface of the weave. Mystra keeps us in check. There are boundaries she doesn't let us cross, yet every time I was with her, I stood on the precipice, gazing into the wonders that lay beyond. I sought to cross her boundaries. I tried to convince her. I pouted. I pleaded. Swore my ambition was only to serve her better. She only smiled and told me to be contented. Inconceivable as it seems to me now, I shared a bed with a goddess, yet I wasn't satisfied. So I sought to prove myself worthy to her instead. We come now to the crux of my folly. Shall I share the story behind it, or would you rather head straight to its sordid finale? Very well. Here goes. Once upon a very long time ago, a mighty lord lived in a tower. A flying tower, to be precise. I'll save his history for another time, but the gist of it is that he sought to usurp the goddess of magic so that he could become a god himself. He almost managed, but not quite. His entire empire, Netheril, came crashing down around him as he turned to stone. The magic that was unleashed that day was phenomenal. Roiling like the prime chaos that outdates creation. Even the weave itself could not withstand the onslaught. It fractured, then shattered, and all magic was lost to the mortal realms, until the day Mystra returned. She restored the weave, reuniting all its scattered shards. Or so I thought. Until, in the course of my studies, I learned of a book. Netherese tome in which a piece of the fractured weave had been sealed beyond her reach. What if, I thought, what if After all this time, I could return this lost part of herself to the goddess. You know me. My gestures can never be grand enough. I was certain that this deed of raw power, draped in romance, would convince Mystra to take me by the hand and welcome me into her hitherto forbidden domains. I was mistaken. I obtained the fabled book and took it into my study. As for what happened next... Here. Place your hand over my heart. Let me show you.
You feel the tadpole quiver as you realize Gale is letting you into the dark. You see through Gale's eyes, staring down the corridors of a dread memory. Bound and suddenly opened. Inside there are no pages, only a swirling mass of blackest weave that pounces. Its teeth, its claws, it's unstoppable as it digs through and becomes part of you. And God says it ever hungry.
Thankfully, the moment I absorbed the fragment wasn't enough to kill me outright. It was only the beginning. This Netherese blight, this orb, for lack of a better word, is balled up inside my chest. And it needs to be fed.
As long as I absorb traces of the weave from potent enough sources, it remains quiet. Were it ever to fully destabilize, however.
Rather worse, actually. I will erupt. I don't know the exact magnitude of the eruption, but given my studies of Netherese magic, I'd say even a fragment as small as the one I carry, it'd level a city the size of Waterdeep. We might chance upon a king's collection of magical artifacts around the corner. We might cross paths with a miracle round the bend. Then again, we might not. All of this, it must feel like a betrayal. Say the word, and we'll part ways. That is a great relief. Oh, a great relief indeed. You truly are a soul that steals my own. From all my new rallied heart, I thank you. I thank you all. I understand if you stand against me. I'm humbled if you stand with me. Either way, I will do my best not to let you down. I stand at a precipice, but if you do not give up hope, neither shall I. I'll fight. I'll resist as long as I can. Now, even I am tired of the sound of my own voice. Let us venture forth. I do enjoy our conversations. What do you need?
Ah, yes. Karsus. Karsus was perhaps the most powerful wizard that ever lived. The child who would be a god, the elves called him. And he tried. With a spell of his own devising, he endeavored to usurp in one fell swoop the power of the goddess of magic. Mystra, she was called then. Imagine what it must have felt like. To be a god. To know yourself, to be untouchable. To be mistaken. As Karsus aimed his spell at her, she began to unravel. And with her, the entire weave. Too late did he realize what he had unleashed. It would have been the end of everything had not Mystra sacrificed herself. The goddess of magic is all magic. By dying, the entire weave was lost, and the spell that challenged a god failed.
It was the end of Mistral, the end of Karsus, and the end of an entire civilization. As the child who would be a god was turned to stone, his empire came crashing down around him. The floating cities of Netheril were no more, an event that came to be known as Karsus's folly. For a spell, Mistral was reborn as Mystra. Upon her return, the weave returned with her. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mystra, but to prove my love for her. I tried to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go. If it should ever come to that, if I ever know I am no longer able to stop it, I will do anything I can to ensure no one but me pays for my mistakes. I will find the remotest place on the surface of Faerun, or perhaps far below in the depths of the Underdark. I will await that death, alone. I promise I will not betray your trust. You kept me by your side despite the menace that I am. If worst comes to worst, I will be long gone before the curtain falls. Beautiful night, don't you think? Nothing like a brush with destruction to make one appreciate the majesty of a celestial canvas. It's a view I would once have shared with my companion, though definitely unaccompanied by such revelry. She preferred it when we were alone, curled up before a crackling hearth with some ancient, esoteric tome between us. Ink glinting in the firelight. Oh, not everyone is comfortable being alone with their thoughts. Though I never felt alone with a book in my hand, or with her for company. I speak of Tara, my Tressym, assistant, my constant companion through all the ills and tribulations my hubris has thrust upon me. She had been most impressed by our efforts saving these tieflings. Proud, even. And I've given her little to be proud of recently, after I was afflicted with my condition, and locked myself in my tower for an entire year. I was inconsolable, wallowing in my self-inflicted tragedy. I'd given up on myself, but Tara never did. It was her encouragement, her research that led me to my treatment. Once we knew that magically infused items were the key, she went out to find them for me. She saved my life. After so long being cared for by someone else, it feels good to have repaid the favor. Not directly to Tara, but to these poor tieflings. I'm sure she would approve. Sometimes, but I imposed it on myself after all. I set up enough wards to keep an army at bay. Never mind the few colleagues who sought to inquire about my welfare. Tara did her best to keep my spirits up, of course, but there's only so much one Tressym can make up for one's entire social circle. She was often gone, seeking items to treat my condition. You're the first person I've spent any significant time with in a year or more. Spending time in your company, I realize that I may have left behind the greater part of my wit and sensitivity in my tower. Wait, are you saying... You know what? I think I've clearly had far too much wine. And you've had nowhere near enough. I think this is a conversation best held back on, for now. With my condition as volatile as it is, I fear any undue excitement may tip it over the edge, so to speak. Go! Indulge in the frivolities. They're good for the heart. And mine will be all the lighter to see you enjoying yourself.
Just a moment.
A buzz of celebration quiets to a soothing hum as you approach your bunk. You've picked up a few pleasant memories on your journey amongst your struggles. Or perhaps you will be the one taking him.
Who there, wanderer? Stay thy course a moment to indulge an old man.
Elminster?
The very same, Gale. And a fair bit miffed he is, too, finding himself forced to expose his best pair of boots to so many miles of country road on your behalf. Ah, I know a minstrel by trade when I see one. Tell me, what ballad, bold enough to lift me onto the pedestal of acclaim, enjoys your musical predilection? Is that so? The lyrics are by Volo, you know, whose name alone is sufficient enough criterion to arbitrate its acclaim to truth. 2 weeks I had to endure a frozen beard and wicked frostbites, yet he makes it sound like a dalliance through the dales.
Yes, yes, yes. Be that as it may, you said you came all this way on my behalf, did you not? For what purpose?
I was bid to spare neither time nor my own self to find you. She sent me, Gale. You know of whom I speak.
But why? Out with it, Elminster. Please.
Young man, has your sojourn away from Waterdeep washed away your decorum as well as your patience? Nigh a 10-day I've gone without honest fare, worthy of the name. Drank naught, but what the sky entitled my thirst. Why, some bread, cheese, and a cup of wine would appear unto me a feast. Surely you won't begrudge me a mite of rest and repast before I get out with it? And a great kindness that would be. See, Gale, even in these barren parts, the art of hospitality begets inspired new works, if only one keeps up the practice.
Oh, for the love of...
This way, then? To your camp? Oh, don't dawdle now, lad. You're the one who's in such a frightful hurry.
Oh, nigh on 13 centuries old and he still thinks with his stomach. We'd best follow and see if he's more disposed to speak plainly once it's stopped its grumbling. A wise choice. Better to indulge your curiosity than Elminster's appetite.
Yes, what a delightful wedge of old Elthurian that was. Doesn't do to parley on an empty stomach, you know. Makes one's words frivolous when they should be grave. Plenty to digest, after all. A good deal to stew over, if you will. Words ladled with import should be savored so as to better absorb their meaning. Wouldn't you agree?
Elminster!
Right. You see, well, that is to say, Gale, my boy, I've come to address a most pressing matter. I'll speak as plainly as I can, forswearing the accustomed frills that decorate my speech. I'm here on behalf of Mystra. The message and the charge I bring you are hers.
Oh, Mystra's delicate feet are ill-suited for the hardships of the road.
You know where you went wrong, Gale. No, we needn't dwell on that here and now. But even so, you're to be given a chance of redemption.
Mystra would consider forgiveness.
She would consider what she considers to be forgiveness. Mystra is aware of the misadventures that have befallen you both. She knows of your strife with the Absolute, that most insidious of evils. The very purpose of my presence, in a roundabout sort of way. You must know that the Absolute is more dangerous than you can possibly conceive. It threatens all who live, even those who are undying. It threatens the gods, the weave, the very fabric of the universe itself. That is why I have come here to charge you, Gale, with its destruction. It is Mystra's belief that only you can.
The orb.
Precisely. Mystra has granted me the power to stop the clock, as it were, on the orb's rush to overpower you. Instead, you will be able to unleash its lethal combustion at will.
Interesting. This could be help, or hindrance. We shall have to see.
You must find the heart of the Absolute, whatever that may be, and use yourself as the catalyst that will burn it from this world.
He is not. But it seems that Mystra is.
It brings me no pleasure saying this, my friend. But such is Mystra's will. Yours must be the sacrifice that will undo the Absolute. And for your sacrifice, you will be redeemed. Such is Mystra's promise. With that, I've said my sorry piece, and need only bestow unto thee the charm I was bid. Mina hastra mistrariel Italior thras annas distra. It is done. Both charge and charm have been committed into your care. To you, I commit into care Gale himself. I count on you to shepherd him well on this strangest of journeys.
Or some other fortune altogether.
Like moons make swell and wane the nescient seas, so too the sky-strewn gods ordain the tidal fates of mortal days. And yet, an ocean born in lonely hours, come ebb, come flow, come all that is beyond the breadth of our dominion. Be a moon unto yourself. Even the waves of fate can break upon the shores of will. Farewell, my friend.
Farewell, Elminster. I'm glad she chose you. An audience with Elminster is never less than memorable. I'd have hoped to introduce you to him in less dire circumstances. But those are hard to come by these days. A wizard doesn't reach Elminster's age without enjoying their home comforts. Those who seek danger over cheese don't tend to live as long.
For Mystra to have sent him, the severity of her bidding could not be clearer, or weigh more heavily on me. Time seems so infinite when you're young. A month is an age. A year is a lifetime. It is a strange feeling to realize how little of it one might have left. Of course, we offer the clearest solution to our problem. All I have to do is find the right place and time, close my eyes, and let go. Then the slate will be clean. Wrongs will be righted, the absolute will be gone, and I along with it. I've no doubt she has the power to do so, but as for the permission, Ao would not look kindly on her meddling in mortal affairs. Divine intervention has a tendency to make things worse, not better. As for Elminster, he saved the realms more times than legend can recount. But to take on a god is no easy feat, even for him. My orb is the best chance we have, and only I can wield it. If there was, I'm sure the goddess of magic and the greatest wizard who ever lived would have identified it. But alas, only one solution is offered. That remains ahead of us for now. The heart of the Absolute must be discovered before I can stop its beating. Let's save such certainty for the moment such a decision is upon us. We may feel differently once we know what we're truly up against. Tell me, what can I do for you? She expects those who seek to use the weave to do so honestly, and with respect for its potential to destroy, as well as its potential to save. I doubt she's asked many of her followers to blow themselves up. That's a fate she's bequeathed exclusively to me. She wouldn't ask such a thing if it weren't our only means of survival. However much she's annoyed at me. Oh, you know me, ever the optimist. I'm trying to focus on the positives. Truth is, I was living on borrowed time already. Consuming those items would only have kept the orb sated for so long. If anything, I feel more at peace than I have in months. At least now I know my death will have purpose. It won't be a distant bang in the footnotes of history. It's quite thrilling to fight off such grim creatures as this region throws at us. Especially being at your side. I, once read a book that explained in some detail the effect a brush with danger has on one's desire for, other forms of stimulation. Have you ever read anything on that subject? I believe you. You never looked so beautiful as at the end of a stirring battle. Your cheeks flushed, gaze bright, muscles glistening. Perhaps it's just the thrill of our near-undead experience talking. Standing at your side through such darkness and disrepair. It only makes me want you more. Unfortunately, this is neither the time nor the place to indulge such feelings, so we must be patient and push all such thoughts aside. For now. Was there anything else you wish to discuss?
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of Gale of Waterdeep. He wishes to extend you an invitation for a private conversation in a more suitable locale. You are speaking to a mere projection of Gale. His appearance, his voice, and a certain measure of his personality, reconstituted in this case to play as emissary and usher. Would you care to join him? What little I could glean from the portion of his mind that is open to me, it is a matter most urgent. Gladly. Simply follow yonder path, and soon you will find him.
I love this time of night. There's an almost reverent silence that accompanies the peak of darkness, when you'd almost believe the dawn will never break. The cradle of eternity. The timelessness of lovers. That most beautiful of fantasies.
Indeed. The curse is still present, of course.
Just veiled and at arm's length for now.
Not a trick I can repeat often, but tonight is different. This may be my last night alive.
I wanted it to be under a canopy of beauty and wonder, and with company to match. I thought this place might bring me peace. I thought it might make the weight of what I must do feel a little lighter. But I'm not so sure. Thank you. But even if we do find another way, perhaps this is the right way. The end fate wishes for me. There is no point in running from the inevitable. Better to meet it on my own terms. One moment with you could sate me for a lifetime and prize the fear from my heart. I'm so very glad you came to share this with me. I know this is all unreal, but I created it for you. You must know that you're very special to me. If things were different, if we were home, I'd have taken time to do things properly, to say it all better. But time is short. I'm in love with you. And you're a bad liar. I lived the life of a hermit for some time before I met you. Safer for all, but not conducive to pleasures of the flesh. I want it to be perfect. To bond with you in the way the gods do, intertwining our spirits in visions of the weave. How about the perfect night in Waterdeep? Yes? Let's imagine how it would be. The scene is this. You and I stand in the room that is the center of my universe. Sculptures, the paintings, the walls livened by the spines of 1,000 books. The grand piano plays the Larian suites all by itself, and as we look out beyond the arches that lead to the terrace, we see the weary sun take its daily dive into the sea. My favorite spot. Many times, evening turned to night and back to daybreak once more while I sat here, lost in words. It's called The Art of the Night, and it details the first 1,000 nights of a newlywed king and queen. They turned everything they did into an art. The art of conversation, the art of taste, time-honored and newly acquired. The art of the body, the exploration and acceptance of the self and the other. The art of the night itself. I say we take a page from their book. I'm many things, but coy's not one of them. What do you say? The old ways, then. If that is what you wish, so be it. A small gesture towards your comfort. I wanted to talk to you about our night together. Have you ever walked to the very edge of a great precipice and shuddered at how easy it would be to step into the void? Ever since Elminster told me of Mystra's expectations of me, it felt like I've been walking along such a cliff face. The great drop to nothingness, never out of my sight. But you led me away from the edge. Without your words, your touch, I fear I would have sought purpose and solace in that void. You reminded me what living can feel like. I had been hoping you'd say that. To be an object of pity. I couldn't live with that. I hope the end is much farther away than I had suspected. I hope that night meant as much to you as it did to me. And I hope we all have more time together. Together. Alone. I'll see that there is. Woe betide anyone who tries to stop me. There's nothing that would give me greater pleasure. You must know, our relationship is the brightest spot in our otherwise bleak endeavor. To know you love me for the man I am and not the magic I command. None have loved me so purely before. You are everything to me. And yet our relationship is only a nascent fraction of what it will become. You give me hope. I've not had that in some time. Grateful, mostly. For meeting you. For having someone who cares that I'm here, alive, and not reduced to a cloud of netherese vapor. Someone apart from my Tressym, that is. I'm many things to many people.
but I'm never a man to throw the L word around lightly. I said exactly what I meant. I love you. You should never, never doubt that. Plenty of them, and all complicated. It's not easy to turn away from one you once loved, but now that I see our relationship with all the illumination hindsight has to offer, I mostly feel only regret. I was not the first wizard to fall under her spell, nor will I be the last. I was an amusement to her. Mortal to be trifled with, amused, and eventually discarded. I regret the way I hurt her, of course I do. But she would have seen me destroy myself to earn her forgiveness. There's no love lost between us. None at all. What a question. No. You're not the first. Though you are the first since my relationship with Mystra came to its ignominious end. When the true danger posed by my condition became apparent, I had no choice but to sequester myself away from civilized society. A reclusive wizard. Who'd have thought? After so long with Mystra, I have to say the pleasures of mortal love are much sweeter than I remember. Though perhaps that's simply because it's with you.
You said it was under control.
It isn't you I answer to, Gortash.
Motherfucker! Gortash!
Oh, the general voice. Is this where we salute?
Salute, yes. With cleavers through his blood-starved flesh. How it crawls with failure. Like flies on lick-wet carrion.
You forget yourself, Orin. I have played my part.
You've built an army for our masters, true enough, but what of the astral prism? A rogue true soul flaunting it under your nose all this time, and you ran from him.
Sure that they would follow and deliver it into my hands here. If you would cease these distractions.
The distractions have been yours, Ketherick. Perhaps we never should have dug your daughter up. So you haven't lost your edge, but you're still not as sharp as Orin, I wager. The Slayer against the Undying One. That'd be fun to see.
His crypt breath sings to my sinews. Again, 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 again. But he must lead the murder march to Baldur's grave.
If the weapon is truly in your grasp, Ketherick, might I suggest closing your fist? Orin and I can wait for you no longer. The plan proceeds. We're going to the city, and we expect you to follow. Army and the weapon in tow.
The Edict of Bane!
The Lash of Fall!
The Testament of Merple!
An elder brain. One of the cruelest and most powerful creatures in existence. Enslaved by mere mortals.
Look at that crown. It radiates with power unlike anything I've ever seen. To have it To hold. Oh, if only I could. But I can't. This is it. I must do as Mystra commands. One last gust of weave. One last gale to end them all.
No!
Beneath the smoking ashes of Moonrise Towers, the Elder Brain lies destroyed. But what of the tadpoles it commanded? Freed of the Absolute's control, they will complete their transformations. A plague of illithids will soon descend on the Sword Coast, enslaving all they do not infect. It is an ending of sorts, though not the one destiny had in store for you.
What choice do I have? More than just a goddess counts of my courage. Whole worlds hang in the balance. I love you too. Much more than myself. More even than Mystra. Very well. Whether I condemn this world or not, I choose you.
There we are. It wouldn't do to fight in front of our guests. Behold, Duke Ravengard, the Absolute.
He'll preserve us.
You wag your word flap in vain, Alderling. Once the worm holds the whip, your shredded flesh will serve us.
Now, it's really time we were going. We will empty this place and begin the march. You may catch up with the army once you've retrieved the weapon. And Ketheric, do try not to sulk. You're supposed to be the fearsome general come to conquer the city. And I am the hero who will save it.
It matters.
I can't help but feel like I've been fumbling in the dark for too long. And I've just had a lit torch thrust into my hands. The crown! The one the Elder Brain was wearing. Netherese magic. So pure, so complete, that I didn't even recognize it at first. Most Netherese artifacts contain only the faintest amount of their former power, the ghost of an echo of a memory. That crown was different. I can't fathom how such a wonder survived. Surely everything of its ilk was destroyed along with Netheril itself, but no matter. It exists. I must learn more of it. That crown sits on a gargantuan elder brain bent on destroying us and everything we hold dear. Understanding its true nature might unlock the means of our victory. We need to learn more about what we saw. An artifact as powerful as that crown must have been documented somewhere. As luck would have it, we'll soon find ourselves near one of the finest book collections this side of Candlekeep, Sorcerous Sundries. I need to go there and learn all I can. The only kind I have? Ha! Sorcerous Sundries is no mere trading post. It's been serving the arcane community for centuries. Their collection of rare tomes is unparalleled. Netherese texts are hardly commonplace, but I'm certain they'll have one or two stashed away. You'll have to forgive my eagerness, but if my suspicions prove to hold water, This could be the answer to all our problems.
You return, Stira. I pray the hearts of you and your companion are ready. For love is a fragile blossom, and we will test its resilience.
Thoroughly magical. Let's have at it.
Close your eyes, little ones. Be still as stone to earth. And remember to breathe. I see you. I see the bond between you. So tender, so fragile. But do you see it for yourselves? Gale, the learned wizard, the charming gentleman, the walking apocalypse. Listen, think. If the wizard were given the choice, what food would he be?
Ah, the fruit of scholars. How I long to have a troop of loyal students grace me with apples by the orchardful in exchange for wisdoms imparted. Ah.
Hear how your bond thrums with pleasure. Strong, vital, pulsing with affection. The heart is fraught, so let us turn to the joyous. When is Gale happiest?
Bravo. That is indeed where my mind wanders to, when times are hard.
The sweetest loves dance lightly on the tongue, but now we must dig deeper, into the most painful reaches of the spirit. We often gaze through a veil of roses, but love accepts both the petal and the thorn. Gale, what is his greatest flaw?
Hearing it said out loud. Yes, I fear it is true. Fate seems determined to make a sacrifice of me. But perhaps fate can yet be defied. A perfect score. Seems you know me better than I know myself.
How close you are. Two hearts beating a perfect rhythm. But I know the truth. Only one face haunts your dreams each night. Close your eyes, sweetness, and she will come to you.
So, you're the lick-spittle who crushed the Bone Lord's throne. Oh, have you come begging, sniffing for our stones? Gortash won't like that. A throat his black hand can't choke the spit from. Oh, your bond will not save you. He will wrap its cord around your neck and make you swing from it. When you find the lordling, tell him Oren is watching.
So Oren is a shape.
Annals of Karsus. The preamble to a civilization's downfall, committed to parchment by the very hand that wrought its destruction. The truth of the crown, I hope. All that stands between us and enlightenment is the turn of a page. This isn't what I expected. This is much more. The Crown of Karsus. And this is no mere journal. It contains Karsus's original plans for the crown's construction. His designs for godhood. Not exactly. It was what he did with it that sealed his fate, and, for a time, that of magic itself. The crown was merely the means. The book states that the crown and netherstones were originally one construct, seemingly sundered at the moment of Karsus's downfall. If we can collect the crown's setting and the 3 netherstones, and with the correct invocation of certain spells and gestures detailed in these notes, I think I could reforge it. To every end you can imagine, and 1,000 more beyond. Just think of it. The power of the gods in mortal hands at last would be free of doctrine and dogma, confined only by the limits of our imaginations. We must discuss this further, but quietly, privately. Find me later, and I will show you something truly divine. I will show you what a crown like this could mean for both of us. I can hardly wait. I don't think I deserve you at times. I told you of my ambitions, the likes of which many would balk at. And yet you remain at my side. Words alone are not enough. Permit me to show you. Please, close your eyes a moment. Astra navigamus. Few mortals ever glimpse what you're about to see. But don't be alarmed. I'm here with you. Now, open your eyes. The outer planes. This is where gods dwell. They observe us from afar, where they make playthings of us. They will keep all of this from us. The power, the possibilities. They only want us to serve them, to pray to them, and ultimately to die for them. But what if we didn't need them? What if we wielded their power instead and helped ourselves in all the ways they refuse to? I could make that happen. I could make this illusion a reality, with you by my side. Then have me. But have the best possible version of me. The tadpoles, the orb,
These threats to our existence, the gods could aid us if they wished, but instead they cower behind Io. So let us act ourselves. With the power of the crown, any foe would be rendered impotent. Any obstacle would be dwarfed by our might. I used to believe Mystra's forgiveness was worth dying for. But I was wrong. You showed me just how much I have to live for. With you, I forget, my goddess. I love you. Tell me you feel the same way. Tell me you want what I want. Please. But think what I offer. The vastness of eternity to explore, the weave at our fingertips. You would really prefer me as I am? I hope you're right. I truly do. Godly power, perhaps I can live without, but you? You're everything. You put the stars to shame. Let's sit here another while. I want to drink you in. Elminster?
Oh, hello, my boy. No, don't mind me. I'm just enjoying a lungful of Baldurian air. Yes, a distinctive aroma, though perhaps not one worthy of bottling. I hear you've been browsing in the most esteemed of emporiums, Sorcerous Sundries. Indulge my curiosity. What wonders did you discover there? So, you have learned the truth of the enemy we face. The very tool with which its eponymous creator unmade magic itself. Perhaps now you understand what is at stake here, my boy. Though what Mystra asked of you was extreme, it was not without merit, nor demanded lightly.
What are you saying? Or rather, what are you not saying?
Mystra knows you defied her, Gale. Well, of course she knows. She's Mystra. She bids you come to her holy shrine in the Stormshore Tabernacle. There, she will grant you an audience at last. I see remaining up to Mystic is my duty. Especially when I'm not the one being asked to do the seemingly impossible. Trust in yourself. Trust in the weave, if you are willing. Trust in Mystra. There is a conclusion yet to be written in this sorry tale, Gale of Waterdeep. And yours is the quill that will write it.
Anything I can do for you, consider it most enthusiastically done.
often asked myself the same question, and never really found a satisfactory answer. You clearly see something in me that I can't. The wisdom and intelligence required to overcome almost insurmountable odds, perhaps? Or the stupidity required to attempt it. I'll take it as a compliment either way. You don't get to be 13 centuries old without becoming a sound judge of character. And cheese, apparently. I regret many things in my life. Choosing to be here, intact and unexploded, is not one of them. For now, to have a few more days in your company, no. I wouldn't change a thing. So all it took to get Mystra's attention was to learn how to reforge an artifact that once destroyed her. It's obvious when you stop to think about it. Well, I doubt it's an apology for asking me to die on her behalf. Whatever it is. If it's important enough to send Elminster, you can be damn sure she's serious. This is a conversation that's long overdue on both sides. I owe it to her to hear her out. Come what may afterwards. After you.
There she stands, just as Elminster promised. Mystra, goddess of the weave, mother of all magic.
The old man wasn't lying. She's opened the summoning channel. Can't you feel it?
Gale's right. The very air around the statue crackles with magic. It sets your teeth on edge.
A stream of pure, undiluted weave. I only have to reach out, and it will carry me to Mystra, wherever she may be.
Do what you must, Gale. Mystra has weighed upon your heart and mind for too long.
Time was, I'd have given my right arm for a chance to speak with Mystra again. The left one, too. Maybe a knee. Am I? You're right. I am a strong, capable wizard. And this is no more than a casual reunion with an ex-lover. My omnipotent, omniscient ex-lover. I always wonder what being nervous would feel like. I hate it. You're kind to say so, but this is hardly my first time in Mystra's presence. It's more the matter of what I'm going to say to her. During my time locked away in Waterdeep, I prepared a quite comprehensive speech for her on the subject of our former relationship and the manner in which it ended. Alas, recent events have rendered the majority of it moot, so I'm going to have to improvise. Unless you have any words of wisdom to impart before I go. The summoning channel Mystra has provided is one only I can enter. No matter how much I prefer not to face her alone. You're right. A heartfelt apology is the surest way to a goddess's heart. And her favor. I pray that she'll be in a forgiving mood. If she weren't the one I'd be praying to. I'll only be gone for a matter of moments. The Outer Planes experience time quite differently to our own. Wait for me. Please.
Gale of Waterdeep. You look well.
Mystra. I never thought we'd speak again like this. Why am I here?
There is much unsaid between us, but time runs ever short. You discovered what lies at the heart of the Absolute, the Crown of Karsus. And you disobeyed my instruction. Why?
I didn't want to die. And when I saw the crown, I thought I might not have to, if I only understood its power.
And you believe you have the right to such an understanding? The past cannot be undone with self-pity, nor can a future be forged. Only with the truth will you see the way ahead. The fragment of magic you tried to return to me was not of my creation. It was the Karsite weave. It is a corrupted, half-born magic, wrought in the brief moment Karsus ascended to godhood. It hungers for power, just as he did, and it can never be sated. You unleashed something that would consume all magic in existence, and yet you thought only of preserving yourself.
That can't be. It wasn't. It couldn't have been. I only wished to prove myself worthy. I had no idea.
You were already worthy. What you lacked was patience, and it cost you dearly. When the Karsite weave entered your body, your gifts were the first thing it consumed. The only reason the orb sleeps is because I have allowed it to feed on the true weave. A temporary measure, but one that will not be enough to save us. With each day that passes, the Elder Brain threatens to become a new kind of god. Its worshippers, a scourge of soulless illithids. If you will not use the orb to end this abomination, then you must find a way to separate crown and host. When you've done this, you must surrender the Crown of Karsus to me.
I won't let you down again. When the Absolute is vanquished, I will surrender Karsus's powers to you. You have my word.
Thank you. May the Weave's light guide your purpose, and its wisdom guide your hand. The future of magic rests on your shoulders, Gale of Waterdeep. I promise you, it is a burden you are strong enough to bear.
Mortal soil once more. I can't believe I saw it. After all this time. Relieved. Drained. Proud of myself for summoning the courage to go to her in the first place. And, if I'm being totally honest, a bit lightheaded. As if it wasn't enough to have seen her again. She didn't exactly summon me there for small talk. The Karsite weave. Within me this whole time. I knew the orb was no ordinary ball of magic before it to be Karsus's malignant creation. Gods! How did I not see that? True enough. There's a reason such unwitting heroes have been the backbone of lyric and legend for as long as both have existed. Even so, I was hardly some naive apprentice at the time. I considered myself an archmage, and yet was fool enough to be mistaken for a common conjurer. At least now I'm armed with the truth, and Mystra's expectations. Once I bring the Crown of Karsus to her, I can put everything right. The orb, too. I'll be myself again, for all that's worth. I'll have to disagree with you there. Having not one but two parasitic entities within your body does very little for one's faith in one's personality. Still, I should take the compliment with the same generosity it was given, so thank you. If I could promise you one thing in return for your faith in me, it's this. I will use everything in my power to ensure we defeat this evil. I will not let you down. Now, I believe we've a date with an Elder Brain to get to. Shall we? Yes, my love? Strangely, no. Once, a mere glimpse of her face would have been enough to turn my insides over. But not this time. In her likeness, I used to read 1,000 stories. She was beauty, wisdom, elegance, power. She contained universes. But now, it's hard to see any redeeming qualities in a lover who condemned you to death. I'd much rather gaze into your eyes than hers. Yours are capable of tenderness and feeling. No god could ever compare. I hope you don't think less of me. Great ambition should not come at the expense of what you already hold dear. I see that now. What divine calculus plucked each of us from the ether and thrust us together. I don't deserve you, truly. But I will do my utmost to earn the right. Was there anything else you wish to discuss? My love, I hope you enjoyed our voyage through the cosmos. I was hoping you might have a moment to talk about it. Neither have I. The closest thing to a deserving canvas on which to place your beauty. But I've also not forgotten why I took you there. I hope you don't think less of me. Great ambition should not come at the expense of what you already hold dear. I see that now. What divine calculus plucked each of us from the ether and thrust us together. I don't deserve you, truly. But I will do my utmost to earn the right. You made a good decision refusing that devil's contract. We'll speak more on this later, but suffice it to say for now, that crown is vital to our purpose here.
I have assessed our encounter with the Netherbrain from every angle. I know why we failed. The problem was not the stones. The problem was you. You can make only one move at a time, but the Netherbrain calculates every possible move at once. It knows what you will do. It knows everything you could possibly do. You cannot outmaneuver it. To defeat it, you would have to think like an Elithid. Better yet, be one. Your mind is not capable of this. Mine is. You will give the stones to me. I will assimilate Orpheus, and then I will be able to leave this prison to face the brain.
This fella and his ultimatums. But he's forgetting one thing. We could become Illithid. I mean, I could. You could trust me to do what needs to be done.
You still don't trust me. After all we've been through. Remember, I have been your salvation from the very beginning. Your knight in shining armor. I freed you from the Nautiloid, prevented you from crashing to your death. I have protected you ever since, at no small cost to myself. I came to you as a leader, but I did not shy away from showing you vulnerability. I needed you as much as you needed me. I was not above recognizing this. When you discovered my true identity, I did not flinch from the truth. I never lied to you, not once. I am just like you. We have the same enemy, the same story. I encouraged you to fulfill your potential, all while protecting you from harm. Now I ask you for the last time to trust me. Release the Netherstones to me.
Do not forget, there's a card yet to come into play. The orb. If you do not want to surrender the stones, you can still use it to ensure the brain's destruction. Along with my own, of course.
This is a risk we cannot take. Your hubris drives you even now. You failed before. I cannot trust that you will not fail again. You must trust me. Hand me the stones. I told you we have to trust one another. I told you the Githyanki would only want to kill you for what you are. Still, you choose to break our alliance. Even united, the Netherbrain was going to be an impossible enemy. But apart, we have no chance of survival. Very well. Since you will not work with me, you work against me. You leave me no option but to join the Netherbrain.
Hammer. We can free Orpheus.
I doubt we'll get much in the way of gratitude.
As the Githyanki prince takes his blade, a silent cry pierces your head. It's unlike any sensation you've ever felt.
You reek of Illithid. You destroyed a Githyanki creche, and you slaughtered my honor guard. Nonetheless, it seems we must be allies. You may address me as Your Majesty. You should have yielded to them. They would have given you a noble end. Any worthy individual destined to become Gake would have done so. My guard would have freed me, and I would have stopped the Elder Brain before it evolved into a Nether Brain. All that suffering, avoidable, were it not for the choices you made. In this, we are aligned. I am obliged to overlook your transgressions. We will destroy the Netherbrain together, and put a stop to this nascent empire before it expands into the stars. The Gake was correct about one thing. The Netherbrain's power is beyond us. The hardest metal in the world would not cut through its mind, for it is made of thought itself. At this point, it will take an Illithid to unleash the full potential of the Netherstones. Just as I was free, I will do it. I will become Illithid. I will sacrifice my soul for my people. I will end the Grand Design. The Netherbrain will be only too pleased to claim me. Even in my darkest hours, I knew it was my destiny to save my people. I could never have imagined this would be the way. Give Kartavkim crushed. These. Let us seek out the Nether Brain and finish this. Once the grand design is ended, kill me. It is the very least you can do.
Strolling these streets together would have been quite magical in other circumstances. This is all a tad apocalyptic for my liking. I'd need a ream of parchment longer than an elder brain's stem to capture the tumult I feel at that particular prospect. But I'm ready, if that's the word you need to hear. If you call on me, I will not let you down. When? I'm glad you have such confidence in our endeavor. I confess, my own's not constructed from such immutable materials. I made a promise to my goddess. One I will do my best to keep. For the sake of this city, I can only hope that my best will be enough. I'm cautiously optimistic. Though, with the time left to us and the amount still to be done, it's best we don't take anything for granted. Who knows what shape these final moments of ours might assume? Not I. Not Mystra. Not even you. Whatever my fate might be, I'll be glad to greet it in such fine company. I hope that wasn't our last kiss. I'd take 1,000 more if I could.
Thought occurs to you as you gaze at the monstrosity above. Gale's orb remains an option, one that could put an end to the absolute once and for all.
You're plotting something, aren't you? Come on then, out with it. I'd rather know before we take on that cerebral monstrosity. I thought I made my feelings plain. I do not want to take that step. Not anymore. Simply tell you what you want to hear, then ascend by myself and take on the brain alone, you know? Sometimes I wish I were a more selfish man. Life would be so much easier. But, alas, you're right. The orb is the only way. All that's left for me to do is spirit you away to safety. Wonder out there. Infinite possibilities. Perhaps fate will bring us back together before the universe dims. Fugamus inferni blandimenta. Up you go then, Gale. Let's make this count. The whole world's watching.
Surrender and live.
thrall? No, I think you're mistaken. The name's Gale of Waterdeep. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, though our time together will be exceptionally brief. Farewell, and happy land.
He did it. He actually did it. He blew up the brain. I can't feel the tadpole. They must have all died in the explosion. That means I can't turn into a mind flayer. But Gale... he's gone. All that wisdom. Lost. Forever. All so that we could survive. I owe him my life. We all do.
Even when my time in the prism stretched out like eternity, when escape seemed impossible, I never lost hope. I knew that my destiny was to liberate my people, to return to them triumphant. I was wrong.
Thought occurs to you as you gaze at the monstrosity above. Gale's orb remains an option, one that could put an end to the absolute once and for all.
You're plotting something, aren't you? Come on then, out with it. I'd rather know before we take on that cerebral monstrosity. As viable a plan as any while staring into the maw of perdition. Shall we?
Impossible! Pain! Fear! Terror! Reconsider! Assess! Implore! Surrender!
There. At last. It is subdued.
Spare me. Join me. Wield me. Become absolute!
And thus, I honor my mother's legacy. The grand design, once again, ended by my line.
The brain is on the cusp of its final thought, and it's taking all of Orpheus's strength to keep it there. An opportunity, perhaps.
I must obey. I must end.
Hopes, nightmares, and the screams of legions upon legions of unborn Illithids. The pain roots through you, obliterating all thought, all feeling. Your tadpole burns in your brain. Silence. For the first time in a long time, your thoughts are entirely your own. And then, gravity.
The Githyanki are leaving us. An unlikely place to find ourselves, fighting on the same side as them.
With the Githyanki gone, there's nothing left but the silence of the city, smouldering, waiting to be rebuilt. But it seems that Gale's mind is elsewhere.
The crown. It's somewhere in the Gionthar. If I salvage the stones, I can reforge it. And once I have, I'll return it to Mystra. She'll cure me of my affliction, and I'll finally be free. And a more deserving one this time around. If this adventure has taught me anything, is that there are things in this world far more valuable than power. You, for example. You're always wiser than me when it mattered most. Besides, grown quite fond of this merry band of ours, but I'd quite like to see what happens to it. I'm sure Mystra will summon me soon enough, but until then, I propose we celebrate our victory the mortal way, with a drink in our hands and reckless abandon in our hearts.
There is much to do, but a drink might be nice. A seat would be better.
It's over. And it's all because of you. You, who were destined to become a thrall. Thanks to you, there will be no Illithid empire, no death god's tyranny. You have earned your place amongst the legends of the Sword Coast. You are the saviors of Baldur's Gate.
It's curious. After all the wonders and monstrosities we've witnessed, waking beside you seems more unreal than any of it. I've forgotten what it felt like to greet a sunrise without fear of it being my last. Soon, I'll deliver the crown to Mystra and be rid of the orb at long last. I'll be free. We have all the time in the world for that. But first, there's something I wanted to talk to you about. I've decided to drop this whole Gale of Waterdeep business. It's a bit pompous, don't you think? You're now in the company of plain old Gale de Karsus, a most brilliant wizard of intentionally limited renown. At your service. Now, I believe this is the moment where I should get to my point, so to speak. I love you. More than I've ever loved anyone, mortal or immortal. And you've proven your love for me in more ways than even the greatest mathematicians would dare to count. That being said, I wondered if you might consider accompanying me back to Waterdeep as a new member of the de Karsus clan. You will? Oh, thank goodness for that. We'll need to make the arrangements, of course. The de Karsus clan is scattered far and wide, and you'll have invites of your own to send out, I'm sure. But that's all to come. The day is young, and there are thousands more days ahead of us.
are you doing?
Together, conquer, rule, command!
In my name.
Then you must become a mind flayer. It is the only way. You have resisted such a fate so far, and this would be a complete evolution. And you will be an illithid for the rest of your days. Is this really something you would be willing to accept? It is a big decision, perhaps the biggest you will ever make. No doubt your allies will have their own opinions on it. Talk to them before you commit. Once you do, there will be no turning back.
An easy proposition for the Emperor to make, become a mind flayer. It has no soul to sacrifice. If it did, perhaps it would understand the weight of what it's asking of us, and why we might seek an alternative. I know we've been through this before, but our situation has changed since then. Not for the better. I think it's time we reconsider the Orb. With its power, I could put an end to this whole thing. Crown, Netherbrain, Absolute. Everything. In a word? Yes. The real question is, do you trust me? Do not mistake me, I want to live. But I've been careless enough in my life in the past. I can hardly stand by and watch you sacrifice yours. Once I'm in position, I'll ensure you are removed to a safe vantage point to watch the fireworks. You need not die alongside me, nor surrender your soul in becoming an illithid. I like the sound of that. Very well. We'll do this the old-fashioned way, then. Swords, spells, and sweat. Adventurous to the end. Whatever form it may take.
I trust you have aired opinions and grievances and made your decision. Are you ready to become a mind flayer? Very well. I have the means to evolve you. I took this one from the Nautiloid. I have been nurturing it ever since, priming it for your use. All you have to do is open your mind to it. Its latent potential will do the rest.
The boundary between thought and feeling is gone. Your mind and body are as one, bristling with concentrated cerebral energy. Exactly as the Emperor described. But there is something else. An emptiness to be filled, a hunger to be sated. It is overwhelming.
You feel it, don't you? The hunger. Embrace it. Feed. I'm sure you will learn how to do it more gracefully with time. But you have done what is necessary. The greater challenge now lies ahead of us. The Netherbrain. Come, we must follow the Brain's path. This time, we will not fail.
Strolling these streets together would have been quite magical in other circumstances. This is all a tad apocalyptic for my liking. When? I'm glad you have such confidence in our endeavor. I confess, my own's not constructed from such immutable materials. I made a promise to my goddess. One I will do my best to keep. For the sake of this city, I can only hope that my best will be enough. I'm cautiously optimistic. Though, with the time left to us and the amount still to be done, it's best we don't take anything for granted. Who knows what shape these final moments of ours might assume? Not I. Not Mystra. Not even you. Whatever my fate might be, I'll be glad to greet it in such fine company. I'd be lying if I said it wouldn't take some getting used to. What could a few extra tentacles do to a bond as strong as ours, eh? When all this is over, we'll have time enough to unpick the specifics of your new condition. Psionics alone could take months to thoroughly evaluate, not to mention the matter of your diet. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We've a Netherbrain to defeat. Then we get to the fun stuff.
The brain. It's high above the city now, far away from any innocence. I can end this now. Stop the Absolute and spare the city. The stage is set for my final act. Mystra's bidding and the redemption that lies beyond. You brought me right where I need to be. I have no right to ask more of you. It's time I spirited you to safety. This is a fate I must face alone. Still, you will be taking unnecessary risks by proceeding. This could all be over in mere moments if I ascend alone. It's now or never. This isn't giving up. It's securing victory at a price I am willing to pay. And everything we shared can live on. With you. Please. For too long, I've lived in fear of taking a host of innocents with me when I expired. Now at least I can be assured my demise will be saving them instead. If you're mistaken, this could be the end of everything. We'll be failing right at the last hurdle. But
only made it this far thanks to you. Who am I to question such sterling guidance now? Mystra won't be pleased. But perhaps trying to please the gods is a fool's errand. Lead on, then. Shall stay my hand as long as I can. But if the tide of battle turns against us, remember I have the means to bring a swift end to this.
Impossible. Pain! Fear! Terror! Reconsider. Assess. Implore. Surrender.
It knows this is the end of the road. Pay it no mind.
Spare me. Join me. Wield me. Become absolute.
Now, kill it!
What are you doing? Stop!
Together. Conquer. Rule. Command!
In my name.
Master. I must obey. I must end.
Hopes, nightmares, and the screams of legions upon legions of unborn Elithids. The pain rips through you, obliterating all thought, all feeling. Silence. For the first time in a long time, your thoughts are entirely your own. And then, gravity. Smoldering, waiting to be rebuilt. You are a mind flayer, the very thing you sought to eradicate. Whatever self you possess is quickly ebbing away. Your friends and enemies alike are ripe for manipulation. And if not manipulation, then consumption. Soon you will not be able to trust yourself at all. You will be a monstrosity beyond redemption. Or not. Perhaps you are unique among Illithid kind. Perhaps you will retain enough of who you are to resist your nature. A rogue mind flayer. Like the Emperor, the risk is certainly yours to take. Will you?
What are you doing? No!
The blade feels cool as it pierces your flesh. There is no pain, only the need to sleep. 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 You have thwarted the Illithid grand design. You have defeated 3 chosen and a nether brain. You are miraculous. And you have earned the right to live. Your fate will be what you make of it. Now you are your own master. But it seems that Gale's mind is elsewhere.
The crown. It's somewhere in the Gionthar. If I salvage the stones, I can reforge it. And once I have, I'll return it to Mystra. She'll cure me of my affliction. And I'll finally be free. Ugh, no. Having seen what we've seen of those who chase godhood, I'm quite content with my mortality. A wise man learns from his mistakes and strives not to repeat them. I shall bring the crown to Mystra. If this adventure has taught me anything, it's that there are things in this world far more valuable than power. You, for example. You're always wiser than me when it mattered most. Besides, grown quite fond of this merry band of ours, but I'd quite like to see what happens to it. I'm sure Mystra will summon me soon enough, but until then, I propose we celebrate our victory the mortal way, with a drink in our hands and reckless abandon in our hearts.
I'm not sure about, drink in hand, but I think we've all earned some reckless abandon. How about you? Any thoughts on what's next?
Your intellect will be valuable indeed, so long as it remains uncorrupted. It's curious. After all the wonders and monstrosities we've witnessed, waking beside you seems more unreal than any of it. I've forgotten what it felt like to greet a sunrise without fear of it being my last. Soon I'll deliver the crown to Mystra and be rid of the awe at long last. I'll be free. We have all the time in the world for that. But first, there's something I wanted to talk to you about. I've decided to drop this whole Gale of Waterdeep business. It's a bit pompous, don't you think? You're now in the company of plain old Gale de Karsus, a most brilliant wizard of intentionally limited renown. At your service. Now, I believe this is the moment where I should get to my point, so to speak. I love you. More than I've ever loved anyone, mortal or immortal. And you've proven your love for me in more ways than even the greatest mathematicians would dare to count. That being said, I wondered if you might consider accompanying me back to Waterdeep as a new member of the de Karsus clan. You will? Oh, thank goodness for that. We'll need time to make the arrangements, of course. The catering alone will need to be quite extraordinary. But that's all to come. The day is young, and there are thousands more days ahead of us.